Hey, what's up? Welcome to my studio tour. So I'm going to take you through 5 rooms that are in my studio. We've got podcasting area or filament set, we've got green room, we've got our control room, we've got our vocal booth / guitar room, and finally we've got our drum room. I'm going to take you through each one of those areas that we have here and sort of just delve into a little bit about how they're used, when they're used, what we've used them for in the past, what we're going to use them for in the future, and just what that looks like, and just give you a wee bit of a demonstration of how it's kind of put together. So first up, we're in the filament area. This room was probably the last area to be finished whenever we started building the studio. And so it sort of gave me a little bit of time about what way I wanted to put it together, what way I kind of wanted it designed and decorated, and just what way we wanted to do it. It was a wee bit of a labour of love at the start. There was a massive, like where I'm sitting now, a gaping hole, where it was sort of 2 levels of sort of this side over here and then the side where I'm sitting on now. And it was like, what do we do with it? Do we keep the 2 levels? Give us a little bit of height, maybe about sort of, I don't know, 1/4 of a foot, 1/2 a foot maybe at most. But decided to level it all off, so with concrete literally poured into the studio here, into the basement. Everything leveled off, a layer of latex put on top of it to sort of make sure everything was level, and then carpeted the whole area. Built stud walls the whole way around it, again just to give a little bit of insulation, soundproofing, deaden it in here a little bit, just to make sure from a filament set point of view, or whatever we want to do, whether it's podcasts or acoustic sets, no matter what it was just to give it that blank canvas that we could do whatever we wanted to after the fact. And so it meant then walls were painted, stud walls were up, insulation was in, carpet was down, and everything was just a blank slate, and it just gave us this really great platform to work on and to start from. After that, it was decorating it a little bit to go, okay, what do we want to do with it? It's still a bit plain, it's still a bit, I would love to have a bit more in it, but it's a work in progress, as all these things always are, no matter where you work out of, whether it be a bedroom, whether it be a little bit of a space, or whether it be a commercial studio, or somewhere in between all that as well. There's always something next that you want to do, and I'm no different, whether it be like slatted walls with the acoustic paneling in behind it, or whatever it may well be, but there's always something that you want to do, and that's always looking ahead, always trying to think of what else could we do different in here. But that's the fun part of it, because you're always thinking of what next. So in here, so we managed to get it finished, and it was just this blank canvas, but there's always that possibility of like having the LED wash lights that we could put any color onto it. There's an enormous amount of space all around here. Whenever you clear everything away from it, you kind of go, what else can we do with it? And there's a huge corner sofa here, we'll talk about that in a wee second, but pushing all that back, I've done quite a few things in here, whether it be recording a full band, you know, we're having drums, bass, acoustic, keys, a couple of singers. Being able to do that in here, again, was probably with like 4 or 5 cameras actually set up to do multi-cam recording. Yes, they're all static, but again, to do something like that in here, it's actually pretty cool. We really, really enjoyed it. It was sort of coming out of that mid-COVID, coming out of COVID kind of scenario where it was like kind of wanting to put some stuff out online. And yeah, we just converted in here to like a bit of a live set. I've done acoustic sets in here, with just piano, vocals, acoustic guitar and vocals, done that a few times in here. I've done podcasts in here. I've done interviews in here. And it just lends itself to being such a flexible space that I thoroughly enjoy using. And it's so adaptable. The other one we've kind of done is green screen work. So I've invested in 2 large green screens. And whilst the height in here, maybe see it if you've ever been in, but whilst the height in here maybe isn't the greatest, does lend itself well to having like the green screens up, green flooring put in, and just bringing itself to doing those sort of sets that you want to do. So it's covered a lot. It's covered quite a few things, and I've been quite proud of the fact that we've been able to like create these sort of scenes, create these sets that people can come in and be creative in. Ultimately, that's what I want it to be. I want it to be a creative space that people come in, enjoy themselves in, but also they can just think a little bit bigger and go outside the box a little bit and get something out of it that they never thought was actually possible before. And so the space continues to be used for that. This week we've got podcasts coming up. This week we've got interviews coming up in here. And again, it just lends itself so well to that. So I love this space. I love what it's become and hopefully what will happen here in the future. So welcome to the green room. The green room was not very green, as you can probably see. It was set up in such a way that I wanted a space that whenever we had bands, whenever we had musicians in, that there was an opportunity just to come out and relax and chill out. This space was actually so important for me to try and put together. It just lent itself so well to sort of all the different wee areas within the studio, and just really helps people relax and helps people just chill out and enjoy themselves while they're here. There's a few reasons why I wanted this space, why I wanted this area. One, songwriting and collaboration. It's an area where people can just sit down and be creative, be in a studio that if they're sitting here writing, if they're sitting here collaborating and just working together to come up with something new, something fresh, they can do it here, then jump straight in the studio and literally lay it down there and then. And I love it for that. It's so good. The second reason was you have bands and musicians in recording and you just literally want to get people out because it can be busy. A recording session can be a busy time, especially if you've a full band of 5 or 6 members sitting in the control room, which is a big enough space to handle them all, but it's still a busy space. And if you just want time with you and the vocalist or you and the drummer to do their part, you can literally kick everyone out and get them to go and play the PlayStation or go and watch TV and just enjoy themselves and get that headspace of trying to get that performance out of the musician or out of the artist, whatever it may well be. And so this space just is so good. It's also great as well because you can literally clear it out, clear the sofas away here. And we talked about it in the filming part in the podcast area, but literally just clear everything out. And it's a filming space for like a full band. And we've done that in here. But also every February, which is the best time of year for in the studio, we literally clear, we put as many sofas out, and on Super Bowl night, there's about 20 to 25 people literally come in here and watch the Super Bowl at about 4 a.m. It is a great night. And again, it's just so multi-purpose. We have Champions League nights in here, we have football nights in here, we've just hangout times that again, people just come in and just feel at home in here and feel relaxed. And it's, again, I love this space so much. The PlayStation's here, the sound system's here, the Apple TV's in here. And again, people just get to use it for whatever they want to use it for. And so, as you can tell, there are just so many uses for this small area. To have the facilities in here to be able to do all those things, it's just so good. So yeah, this is the green room, this is the chill out area, whatever you want to call it. I have some important pictures up around as well that again, people just probably think they're random, but they're important to me. And it just makes the studio, the area, the space, be reflective of me and my personality and things that are important to me as well. So yeah, this is the green room and I love it. I love this space, so good. So welcome to the control room. We've already talked about the filming area, the podcast bit. We've already talked about the green room, and I just want to show you then kind of the music part or the heartbeat of the actual studio itself. Spent so long going through so many different variations of what this looked like. I'll throw up some pictures of what I started it off as compared to what it is now, but it went through so many variations of like, what's the better layout? Is it better to have the desk facing one way, another way, whatever? But I've landed on this. This for me was the sweet spot of where it sort of just sounds the best. I get better clarity out of it. I think just in terms of room acoustics as well, it looks and sounds better as well. So I'll run through some equipment, what way I have it wired up, what way it's all connected, where stage boxes are wired to, how many inputs there are, different things like that. But we'll just go through what I have here, stuff that I've just gathered up over time, and kind of what's made its way into the studio in that period of time. So we'll start off with our speakers. So I've got a set of Adam A7Xs. These things replaced a set of Mackie MR8s that I had previously. They lasted me about 12 years. They were great. I loved them. There was sentimental value to them as well. Family members had got me them, and I just did not want to part with them one bit. But eventually, one of the speakers, it just kept on dropping in and out. Must have just been like a voltage sort of drop, and just the volume drop, then came back up, drop, then come back up, and mixing, recording, whatever it was, just could not happen anymore. And so I just took a plunge, bought a set of speakers without even listening to them, just went off reviews, spent £1,000 on them. Best investment ever. They sound phenomenal. I would swear by these things now going forward. So much so that even if I was in a smaller space, I would get the smaller version of them. But they sound great. I got them just before they were sort of upgraded, or they had a wee bit of a remodel where they've now got like Wi-Fi built into them, just for like crossover points and different things like that. And you can actually tune them a little bit more detailed. You can tune them a bit better and go into a bit more detail on that front. So yeah, they have upgraded them, but these things just sound absolutely phenomenal. I remember like the first time switching them on and listening to music through it, I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing all these years. So yeah, well worth the investment. Adam Audio, highly recommend them. So next, I'll talk about interfaces and what we have hooked up here in the studio. I'll start off with the Universal Apollo. I've got the X8P, game changer, absolute game changer. Whenever the studio flooded, I needed a new interface. The Focusrite that I had, a couple of channels started going faulty, and the internals of them on channel 1 and I think channel 8 as well just got hissy, and there was a lot of noise in it. So obviously moisture, liquid got into there somewhere along the line and just made the thing, didn't have 8 channels anymore. So I needed to replace it. The insurance money came in, and it was like, do I put the money into that again, or do we upgrade it? And a friend of mine actually recommended to me, you need to buy Universal Audio, and especially an Apollo. It doesn't matter which configuration it is, but you need to buy Universal Audio. And oh my days, was he right. This thing has just been an absolute game changer in the studio for me. Console took a while to figure out, which is UA's sort of software that sort of drives their Unison plugins. It sort of controls what emulates like hardware that is in a studio, analog hardware, but in a software version. And so it sort of replicates that in the background and then feeds it into, for example, your DAW or whatever you're actually going to use there. And so yeah, I bought it, and oh my goodness, the quality is just night and day different. I go from the Focusrite to this, and just the level of the recordings that you get now is just, especially with console and especially with the work that you can do in that, do a lot of the pre-work of like setting up your kicks, your snares, your vocal mics, your guitars, whatever you want to set up in that. 70% of the work for me is already done. Already. And so whenever you're listening back to it there and then, already you can hear what you're recording, and it's just a game changer. Feeding out of that via ADAT into a Motu 8 Pre. Bought this off a friend 5 years ago, just before we finished the studio. Bought it for 250 quid. It's got Firewire on it. That's how old this thing is. I love it. Again, just sounds great. Really transparent, does exactly what it says on the tin. And for me, it just makes a difference in terms of having something so reliable like that, and I know exactly what I'm going to get out of it. There's phantom power on every single channel. There's a pad on every single channel. Yeah, highly recommended. So again, I've got ADAT feeding in. The 8 Pre goes into the Apollo via ADAT and just sends those 8 channels straight into the Apollo. So you know you've 16 channels there instantly. I've got the D-Sub literally just going straight as line outputs into the Behringer unit. So it gives me 8 headphone mixes. That just gives me the option of doing whatever I want to do in it. We've got 2 in the drum room, we've got 4 in the vocal booth / guitar room. Again, just gives the option of like harmonies or a group or choral group or whatever coming in, that you can 4 separate headphone mixes in there. So yeah, just to have that flexibility to be able to do whatever you need to do and route things anywhere you need them to. It's just really, really handy from that front. Obviously everything gets connected into the Mac, which I've got a Mac Studio. It's one of the M1 Macs whenever they first come out. Whether it's video work, whether it's audio work, it just handles all the plugins and software stuff and does everything I needed to do there. Couldn't fault it. Connected up then from the Apollo via Thunderbolt cable into the Mac. On top of that, I mentioned the Focusrite earlier. I still have the Focusrite. I still have my Scarlett 18i20. The downside is you can't connect it into the Apollo or the Motu easy. In fact, it just can't be done. So then there's a secondary way in terms of what way I can wire it in and give me the extra 6 channels, because 2 of them are sort of not working fully. So I do that whenever by creating an aggregate audio device inside the audio MIDI setup on the Mac. And by doing that, it just gives me the option of then, instead of just having 16 channels, I've then got 22 channels. How often do I use that? Very rarely. Especially in here, like, do you get full bands in? Yes, but normally 16's enough. But to have that flexibility just to give me 22 channels, 8 headphone mixes, I mean, I don't need anything else over and above and beyond that. The only thing is going to switch from using Thunderbolt to then using aggregate audio device. Your latency increases ever so slightly, but in all honesty, it's minuscule, and not once has anyone ever complained to me to say, I have a delay in this and I can't hear it. I can't hear it properly. So for me, it's kind of like, it's negligible in terms of the trade-off of using an aggregate audio device if I need those extra 6 channels. So that's kind of the layout then of this area here in terms of what way we have everything wired in. I have, on top of that, a 12 channel or 16 channel multi-core with 4 returns on it going into the drum room. And then I have a 4 channel stage box going into the vocal booth, which then just gives me the flexibility. As I said earlier, I can have 4 microphones, 4 headphone inputs, that allows anyone and everyone to go in there and record, whether it be guitars, whether it be vocals, whatever it could be. You have the flexibility of getting in there, knowing that you've got enough headphones that everyone can have an individual mix, or you've got enough mic pre's that you can, or mic inputs, sorry, that you can plug in, that everyone gets their own mic. Or do we just do it as one mic and still everyone gets their own individual headphone mix? Either way, the flexibility is there, and that is so important to me. So then going through what way I have it wired in. So then we have channel 1 is set aside for electric guitar. Channel 2 is set aside for bass. This is going from the Apollo 1 to 8. Channel 3 and 4 is your kick in, kick out. 5 and 6 is your snare top and snare bottom. And then 7 and 8 is a stereo channel for the Sphere mic, which is Universal Audio's modeling mic. For me, it has been an absolute game changer to have the scope of being able to choose from 20 different mics, you know, whether it be the U87 Vintage, the U87 Modern, 414 Brass, various ribbon mics, the SM7B if you really wanted that. But again, it gives you the options of being able to pick whatever you want to pick there. I'm going to do a video of it sometime in the future where we just go through each of the mics, pick their characteristics, and have someone record through them just to hear what does it actually sound like. And so, yeah, we'll get a listen to that sometime in the future. But that is the Sphere mic is an absolute game changer, and it's something that I would highly recommend. If you end up with an Apollo and you have Unison plugins where you can add Neve, you can add API preamps onto it, yeah, game changer. I've said that word a few times in here. For me, like, to be able to have this space and to have that level of equipment in there, whilst it may not be competing against massive studios around the world, but for me to be able to have this level of equipment in here is just so good. It just allows me to be so productive and really efficient with my time whenever I come in here to record. Everything is set up and everything just works instantly, which makes clients work so much easier, makes them feel a wee bit more relaxed, and just allows the whole process to just flow really, really nicely. So yeah, so into the vocal booth, we've kind of touched on it a wee bit. The vocal booth has 2 mics permanently set up. We've got the TLM 103, which sounds beautiful. It was the most expensive mic I had bought at the time. It was close to £1,000, about £900 I think it is. But I wanted to make sure I had a mic for vocals that just was like cutting above everything else that I knew I had at the time, and just made sure that, you know, we were in recording vocals, you had something that was like proper good standard to work off. And it was a big enough investment at the time, but it was well worth it. Moving on then, we've got the Sphere mic, which I've already talked about. Again, so versatile, has so many different options, so many different things you can work off, and just allows you to be flexible with whatever you're wanting to record with it. I've put it as a room mic for drums. I've used it for acoustic guitar, I've used it for electric guitar, I've used it for vocals. That's been the main things, but still, to have one mic to be that versatile, to cover so many different things there, it's a massive, massive help. So staying in the vocal booth / guitar room, we have an electric guitar amp and a bass amp. The bass amp is an Ashdown bass amp. Sounds great, does exactly what's needed. Again, DI'd up, mic'd up for whatever you're needing to use it for, so kind of approaching that always on approach with it. We've also got a Fender Deluxe amp for electric guitars. Again, just there for whenever needed. There's so much reamping can be done through console or through your DAW, which just gives you the opportunity to do something different that way. But if someone's just looking for that electric guitar sound and sort of going through an amp and micing through an amp, all the options are there with it, which is just, again, to have it is just class. Moving on to the drum room. Obviously, as you've heard, I had a flooding in here and the drum kit was just ruined. There's probably about an inch of water. Obviously, kick drum was ruined, but the water just seeped into the rest of the shells. It was just so frustrating and so annoying. And we ended up actually replacing the kit, obviously. But I contacted a good friend of mine, Pete Comfort, and said to him, Pete, need you to find me a drum kit. Need you to get something sorted here. Give him a budget. Went away and found me a PDP kit. And oh my goodness, sounds unbelievable. It's a maple kit, 12, 16-inch toms, 22-inch kick, and then went and got a Black Panther snare that's 14x6. I've only one snare in here. That's definitely something I'm looking at, is trying to build up a collection of snares that whenever you come in, you just get to pick whatever one you want that's off the shelf. Drummers do tend to obviously bring their own snare and their own cymbals, but yeah, the kit in there is so nicely set up. Pete done a great job in terms of just getting it organized, setting it up, tuning it, and just getting the right position within the room. Mic wise, we've got D112 on the kick in, we've got on the kick out, Beta 91 for the kick in, your typical 57 for the snare top, SE 4400 for the snare bottom. We've got the Sennheiser E300s, I think they are, or E601, sorry, for the top on the snare, and then MD or the Sennheiser 421 for the floor tom. And then we've got a match pair of AKG 214s for the snare overheads, and then a Rode NT5 for the hi-hat. I said to you, I use the Sphere as like a room mic. Just leave it sitting in the vocal booth, and then open the door and just let it pick up whatever it wants to pick up, crushing that, and then just really compressing it and add it into the mix just ever so slightly. Just gives so much life into the drum kit. It just sounds brilliant. Well worth doing. Nice wee tip pad. Picked that up from a good friend, Aaron Milligan. So yeah, that's the studio. That is the way we have it laid out. To have 3 separate rooms of the control room, of the vocal booth, of the drum room, to have the green room, to have the podcasting area where again it's just so flexible and you can do whatever you want in it. It's just so good. And behind me we've got a rack of all of the mics on it, so again you can just go and lift whenever you need. I've got a bookcase converted into all the filming area of just like again having all the supplies there of what we actually need for it. Say we, I, or whoever else actually comes in and uses the studio. There's a template set up in the DAW that I use, so again, someone coming in to just dry hire the studio, template there with everything set up, everything switched on, ready to go, and it just makes life so much easier to come in and do that. I have a couple of MIDI keyboards, so of an Akai MPK61 and also a Roland D800. So again, you've got fully weighted keyboards in here to come in and play either synth work or pianos. And for me, it's just a place where hopefully we've kitted it out, or I've kitted it out in such a way that everything is there for what you need to come in and record and be comfortable on that and just do that the work. Thank you for joining me on this studio tour. I hope you check out some more videos in the future, check out what we've done previously, and let us know what you think. Drop me a few comments in the comment section below, and yeah, look forward to hearing from you.